So today I have a new sovereign, and this is another one for the date run that I'm definitely not doing. And today we're going to talk about the more modern sovereigns. So this is a 2008, just a bullion sovereign. When I'm talking about ultra modern sovereigns, I would probably say this side of the millennium. And when we're talking about sovereigns in general, the modern sovereign is sort of typically the last 205 or so years. So normally the modern sovereign, 1817 onwards. Now this is a tube of some of the Elizabeth sovereigns that I have. So we have some Gilliks, we have some of the Machin portrait, and these are mainly just named after the designer or the sculptor. So we've got obviously two different sculptors that made these two designs. Here is another one, and so on. So I mentioned the date run of sovereigns. Now, since 2000, the bullion sovereigns have been made each year. Obviously, we've got the 2022, which is a special year with a special design. But more or less, they are just similar, different dates, but nothing too fancy. Now, a lot of people aren't super keen on the modern sovereign. I do prefer the older sovereigns, but I don't mind too much, these more modern ones as well. Now, there's no real interest in mint marks on the majority of these. There is some India sovereigns that were minted since 2013 with PAMP, and you've seen one of those on the channel. 2019 was mine. But otherwise, some of the branch mints, Perth is it Perth or one of the Australian mints, they've had a little go at making some proof coins. Canada have done some proof coins, but none of them are really making the sort of typical traditional sovereign that we have here. So I'm currently missing in the bullion sovereigns, I think a 2007 and a 2001. So just by chance I haven't come up with them. In terms of doing the date run, so if you go back to 1817, obviously that's about 206 years off. So the thing is, there isn't 206 sovereigns though, because there are some years where bullion sovereigns weren't minted. So for example, we had the end of George, which was 1932, and then we had a little bit of a gap. There isn't actually any more bullion sovereigns until 1957. There are some proof ones, but no bullion ones until 1957 with the Gillik portrait. Then we had a couple of years there which weren't available, so there's only 10 up until 1968. Then we went into the Machin, and then after the Machins, then there was just a gap. Basically, it was proof only up until the millennium. So, over those 206 years, there isn't one for every year. So if you are doing the date run, that's perhaps good news, because it means that there is, some gaps. You don't have to buy as many sovereigns. But also it's kind of bad news, because as a collection, it maybe doesn't feel complete, and perhaps to some people that makes a difference. So ultimately, I would like to have a run of the available dates, but I don't want to do it at the expense of turning down good quality coins to buy, more worn, more damaged, just for the sake of filling a date. And I'm not really super keen on paying a really high premium just to pick up, dates that are, new to me that I don't have, or maybe more rare dates. So at the moment, I am kind of focused on picking up sovereigns in general over 1 ounce coins if possible. I do still like 1 ounce coins, but ultimately I would like to just buy the sovereigns if possible. I do prefer the older ones. So Gilliks, yeah, not too bad. Not a bad colour. Machins, again, they're okay, but I do prefer like the Georges and earlier. So in terms of the current run, I'm not that far away from getting every coin from the end of Young Victoria to the present day. I say not that far. There's maybe 15 dates that I don't have in that section, and I do have many duplicates. So it could be an option to perhaps trade some of the duplicates out, and if I did that, obviously it would be great. But trading gold for gold, if you're just swapping with somebody, you've got to pay the postage. Not maybe the best strategy in terms of an investment. If you're losing a bit of a tickle each side, is it really worth it? So I don't want to go crazy and end up buying coins, like I mentioned, for higher prices just for the sake of filling the dates. But over time, I think we'll get there. I think we'll get most of the dates. Um, there is another sort of interesting aspect to it. If you want to get all the sovereigns, with all the mint marks, then that's a whole different can of worms. There's a hell of a lot more to pick up, and it would definitely, keep people busy trying to pick all those up. Um, the reason, some people get into doing collections and things instead of, just picking up whatever best value, it just gives people something to aim for a bit. I guess it's the sort of fun of collecting. There is a bit of a fun aspect to it, and some people do enjoy it. Maybe it doesn't always make financial sense, but if you were doing a lot of other hobbies, that weren't collecting gold coins, you probably are not going to get back much compared to what you initially put in. Maybe you do a sport and there's prize money and that gives you a bit back, but for a lot of sports you outlay for the equipment and wear it out and it's no longer worth anything, or there's memberships to pay, and again, you get the enjoyment of the sport or the hobby or the activity, whatever it might be. But financially, I don't think there's many better hobbies than collecting gold sovereigns, especially not in the UK. But maybe you know some, so let me know in the comments if you do. And obviously, not every hobby is there to make money. It's good just to have a hobby and a pastime where you just do it and you get the enjoyment of it. So, not everything has to make you money. But if you're looking at gold purely as an investment point of view, I don't think you're going to gain much value by having date runs. I think you'd be better off just buying the best quality coins you can at the best value, best price, lowest premium. But for something a bit of a challenge, maybe a bit competitive, maybe it helps keep you motivated on your stacking. Maybe it's just something to do for a bit of entertainment. I personally have got quite into learning about the different years of sovereigns, the different mints and things like that, and the different sort of eras of different monarchs. I'm not, super interested in monarchy and things like that. I don't follow all the news with whatever the Queen's doing or the King or whoever. That doesn't really interest me. But picking up gold coins at a good price and building a stack, well, that interests me quite a bit. So, hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts.